Hola clase, soy yo, señor Tilly. Voy a intentar grabar otro video. Como la semana pasada yo hice una presentación y una grabación, otra vez voy a intentar explicar un poco más sobre el pretérito y el imperfecto y cómo los dos se usan en el pasado. Okay? This presentation is available to you already. I'll publish this recording as soon as I'm finished. La segunda tarea, actividad 2, es ver esta presentación. Okay? Tres partes de la presentación. We'll be talking about the main differences between preterite and perfect. Again, we'll be talking about some interchangeability between them, how they can be sort of fluid in some senses, and I'll explain this week's third assignment, which is to write 15 sentences, including both the preterite and the imperfect. Okay. Primera parte. Okay. Minimize that. Okay, yo comí, yo comía. Arriba tenemos el pretérito, yo comí. Yo comí una hamburguesa hoy. I ate a hamburger today. Matter of fact, I'm reporting this action as completed. One and done. Yo comí. I ate. ¿Tú comiste? No, yo no comí. When you ask someone, have you eaten, right? ¿Tú comiste? Yo no comí. O sí, yo comí. Yo comía, in comparison, el imperfecto, yo comía gives us two senses. Más temprano en el día hoy yo comía cereal. Earlier today I was eating cereal, right? I want to tell you a story. I was drinking my coffee. I was eating cereal. I want to put you sort of in that moment. Build off of that new timeline like we talked about last week. I could also say, cuando yo tenía 5 años, yo comía mucho Eggo waffles. When I was 5 years old, I ate a lot of Eggo waffles. This is a sort of used to something that happened repeatedly over time in the past, right? So the preterite at one time X on the timeline, the imperfect gives us the action was in progress happening or used to happen for a long time over time. I have two other verbs here, yo hablé, yo hablaba. Arriba tenemos el pretérito, yo hablé con Señora Drew hoy. I spoke with Señora Drew today. This action is concluded, right? Just reporting it. I spoke with my colleague today. Yo hablaba, en comparación, yo hablaba con la señora Drew. I would say I was speaking to Miss Drew earlier today, or I used to talk to Miss Drew back when we were in school. She's in the classroom next door, right? Cuando estábamos en la escuela, yo hablaba mucho con la señora Drew. Okay, so similar ideas, but they're two different shades of meaning for what we're trying to accomplish, right? The X on the timeline, yo hablé con mi hermano anoche, o yo hablé con mi amigo esta mañana. Yo hablaba es en el medio de la acción. Yo hablaba con mi amigo cuando la clase empezó. I was speaking with my friend when the class started. O yo hablaba con mis amigos cuando estábamos en la escuela. I used to talk to my friends a lot when we were back at school. One more. Ellos fueron a la playa ayer. They went to the beach yesterday. Ellos fueron a la playa el otro día. They went to the beach the other day. Sort of matter-of-fact reporting about action. Ellos iban a la playa. They were on the way to the beach. If you remember from last week, they were on the way when something occurred, right? Or ellos iban a la playa mucho el verano pasado. They used to go to the beach a lot last summer, right? We're talking about perhaps action happening many times over time. Okay. Continuamos aquí. Por eso me gusta decir el libro cerrado, el libro abierto. I like to call the preterite el libro cerrado. It sort of just tells us the action happened, right? We don't get really into it. We're just saying, here it is, right? The action occurred. We're not asking you to open the book and read it or flip through the pages. The imperfect, on the other hand, we're going to ask you to build out the action, right? We're going to ask you to open the book and entertain the idea, right? Yo comí is el libro cerrado. I ate. Yo comí cereal esta mañana. I ate some cereal earlier today. Yo comía cereal es el libro abierto. I was eating cereal earlier today when something else happened. You have to sort of begin to imagine the action. Or I used to eat cereal. Yo comía mucho Lucky Charms cuando era niño. I used to eat a lot of Lucky Charms when I was a kid, right? Now you have to imagine my childhood and what I was like as a kid. And if I ate Lucky Charms, seguro yo era un loco, con mucha energía, ¿no? Ok, continuamos. Déjame chequear aquí. ¡Woo! Okay, segunda parte. That was part one there. Segunda parte. Ahora, a little bit about the interchangeability of these. We like to hammer home preterite versus imperfect. Which one is it? One or the other. A lot of teachers can be guilty of saying, oh, words like ayer like to signify the preterite, right? Because sometimes we, in certain time frames, are talking more about closed action, one would think. Not necessarily. You could say, ayer yo comía cereal. I could start a story this way. Ayer yo comía cereal. Yesterday I was eating cereal. Or ayer yo bebía mi café cuando me llegó un paquete de Amazon. No, not necessarily these words trigger one or the other. It's more how we want to imagine the action, the closed book or the open book. To speak a little bit about the interchangeability, though, a native speaker. Our native speakers are very likely to even use these interchangeably in many contexts. A question like ¿Dónde estuviste tú ayer? This is a question with the preterite. ¿Dónde estuviste tú ayer? Where were you yesterday? Right? We're not really thinking too much about yesterday. I'm just trying to get some matter of fact reporting from you. Where were you? Right? ¿Dónde estuviste? You could hear a response something like this. Yo estaba en la escuela. Okay? The person asking the information was not thinking too much about yesterday, where it was not asking us to imagine in many other details about yesterday. But the person responding, right, said yo estaba en la escuela. They answered with the imperfect. I was at school, right, and they used the drawn out open book action because they were imagining themselves at school all day, right? We're getting that timeline of them being at school. So you can even have a question that's asked in the preterite answered in the imperfect, same verb. But there's sort of a little fluidity there. This is a good example of how it is dependent on the speaker. Does the person using the tense, preterite or imperfect, do they want us to think more about the action or not, right? Does this person want us to think about the details of yesterday? No. Is this person thinking about yesterday and drawing out that action and imagining it play out? Yes, right? You could have the opposite happen here. ¿Dónde estabas tú ayer? Hey, where were you yesterday? Hey, ¿dónde estabas tú ayer, Max? Y Max responde, oh, yo estuve en la escuela, right? We could have something like this happen. Where were you yesterday? This person's imagining that open book yesterday play out, and this person's already put yesterday behind them. Yo estuve en la escuela, right? They don't want to have that timeline of being at school. They don't want to entertain that. They're already over yesterday, right? So a lot of it is chalked up to, does the person want to imagine the action play out or not? Do they want to open the book and entertain the action in their imagination? Okay, otro pare. Okay, this is the most grammar technical, but I'm going to try and move through this pretty quickly. It's something we talked about earlier in the year. I just want to make you aware of this. If you picked up on the present progressive in the past, and you recognize this, the past progressive should be pretty straightforward. So one more section of grammar, and then I will explain the assignment for this week. Again, I asked you to read an article if you could. It's a language tree of all the world's languages, or the most spoken languages in the world, which I find really neat. Make some observations in a paragraph in English, then watch this video, and then write 15 sentences. This is the third assignment. I'll explain the assignment at the end of this video, this week's assignment. Okay, the past progressive, there's also some interchangeability here between these two forms. These say the exact same thing in many ways. If you remember, we learned like how do we talk about action happening in the moment. Yo estoy comiendo, I am eating. Yo estoy hablando, yo estoy grabando una presentación, right? I am speaking, I am recording a presentation. We also have what we call the past progressive. I'll go through this in a second, the structure of it, but it's essentially estar in the imperfect with the andos or yendos. Yo estaba comiendo. Esta mañana yo estaba comiendo cereal. Earlier today, this morning I was eating cereal. Esta mañana yo estaba bebiendo café. This morning I was drinking coffee. We can use in interchangeably these two structures as well. This is the past progressive and the imperfect. I could say yo estaba comiendo. I could say yo comía. We get the same sense of meaning, right? I was eating. Yo comía, I was eating. Yo comía also carries with it, or potentially carries with it, another sort of understanding of action in the past. Yo comía has a sort of a second wrinkle of what it could mean here. It could also mean I used to eat. So, cuando era niño, cuando yo tenía 5 años, when I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, yo comía mucho Lucky Charms, right? Yo comía Lucky Charms could mean I was eating, and I want you to imagine me eating the cereal earlier today. It could also mean I used to eat this cereal when I was 5 years old all the time. So the imperfect has sort of two shades of meaning, right? It could be we're asking you to imagine the action play out, or we're in the middle of the action in the past, or it happened a lot of times in the past. The past progressive, on the other hand, sort of only has one meaning. It only puts us in the middle of the action in the past. Okay, but they are interchangeable. You can use one or the other, switch one out. Just be aware of that, because somebody will be saying, "Oh, cuando yo estaba caminando, yo caminaba por la orilla," o cuando yo estaba comiendo, yo comía un sandwich, right? We can use these interchangeably. They say the same thing essentially. It's just this carries another potential meaning, right? This only has one. Just like the present perfect only can be used to describe what was happening at that very moment, or what is happening at the present moment. If you remember, and I'll go through this quickly. If you remember, a form of estar plus the present participle, which we call the ando or yendo. Estar en el presente, yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, usted, él, ella, usted está, estamos, estáis, están. We have verbs become ando, you drop the AR, ando, hablando, comprando, bailando, speaking, shopping, dancing. ERIR, escribiendo, corriendo, writing, running. We say things like, yo estoy hablando, I am talking. Ellos están bailando, they are dancing. We have a few irregulars that can also be formed based on the vowels that play out at the end here. There's a few irregular, they call these the present participle, but pretty straightforward for the most part. AR, ando, ER, yendo. We use this to describe what's happening in the current moment at this time right now. We can replace the present form of estar, right? Instead of estoy o estás o está, we can put in the imperfect form, estaba, estabas, estaba. Yo estoy hablando, I am talking. Yo estaba hablando, I was talking. Ella estaba hablando, she was talking. Cooper estaba bailando, Cooper was dancing. ¿Entienden la idea? Okay, so it looks like this. And it's interchangeable with the imperfect. The imperfect does the same thing. The imperfect just also can potentially do something else. Imperfect has two senses. The past progressive only has one. El pasado progresivo, yo estaba, tú estabas, él, ella, usted estaba, nosotros estamos, vosotros estabais, ellos, ellas estaban. Verbs ending in AR, ando, ERIR, yendo, yo estaba hablando, I was talking. Estamos corriendo, we were running. Ella estaba comiendo, she was eating. Ellos estaban bailando, they were dancing. So the gist of all that is that we have these two ideas which are interchangeable, right? Ellos estaban corriendo, we could say, if we want to imagine action in the past. Playing out, open book. I want to put you in the middle of that action. Ellos estaban corriendo. I'm starting a story. Ellos estaban corriendo en el parque. O ellos estaban corriendo en el juego de fútbol. I could also say ellos corrían en el parque o ellos corrían en el partido. cuando pasó algo, cuando él anotó un gol, qué sé yo. They're interchangeable to some extent, right? They carry the same shade of meaning. This can potentially carry one other one, meaning back in the day, this action happened many, or in the past at some point, this action happened many times over time. Okay? Let's see. Okay. La tarea de esta semana, 15 frases. We'll be writing 15 sentences. So at this point, I'm going to be explaining the assignment for this week. This third section here. The week 6 assignment is called In Sequence and Parallel Interrupting. Interrumpir es el verbo in español. This should be on here. Interrumpir. You can look that one up. Some verbs that are useful for writing this one. Ir, interrumpir también. Sonar, your phone or your alarm makes a noise, sounds, goes off. That's a good one. Soñar con ñ is to dream, so it's not the ña. Two verbs, sonar y soñar, son diferentes. Caerse is a good one, to fall. Es un verbo reflexivo, if you want to try and use that. Mientras, while, or meanwhile. Mientras yo hablaba, él dormía. Mientras el profesor hablaba, el estudiante dormía en su silla, algo así. Okay. So here's the assignment for this week. In sequence, you're going to write 5 of these. This is just a list of actions that happen in a series, in order, in the preterite. They're the if you think to the timelines from last week, the X's on the timeline. So an example, me desperté, me levanté, yo fui al baño y me cepillé los dientes. I woke up, I got up, I went to the bathroom, we need one more X, I brushed my teeth, right? These are actions happening in order. Me desperté, yo fui a la escuela, yo fui a la práctica, yo fui a la casa, right? Your timeline for your day, you woke up, you went to school, you went to practice, you went home, right? They're just a series of actions in order, all in the preterite, okay? For this first set of 5, they're all verbs in the preterite. There's the timeline, and they top in boom, 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 one after another in order, okay? These are called in sequence. Solo preterito. Second set, this is called en paralelo. These are fun. Usually, if were in class, you have 2 people up and you have mapped out the actions. It's pretty hysterical. No podemos hacer eso, obviamente. But in parallelo, a list of actions happening simultaneously in the past, right? They might not happen for the exact same duration of time, but they sort of have an overlap. At some point, they're happening simultaneously. Mientras yo me cepillaba los dientes, mi perro me miraba. Okay, here's my timeline. Here's the timeline of me brushing my teeth. Me cepillaba los dientes, right? Me cepillaba los dientes. I was brushing my teeth, right? Mientras is a really good one for these, right? First, the sentences for this assignment. Mientras, while, or meanwhile. We can also use cuando without the accent. Cuando yo me cepillaba los dientes, mi perro me miraba. The second timeline below is my dog looking at me as I'm brushing my teeth, right? So below, Amen, cállate por favor. Below we have the action of my dog watching me, right? That's shorter timeline, right? He wasn't watching the entire time I was brushing my teeth, but for part of it. And above we have the timeline of me brushing my teeth. Me cepillaba los dientes. We could also switch out the words mientras and cuando without an accent. While, meanwhile, mientras. This is while this happened. This also happened. Cuando is also effective there, interchangeable there. Cuando sin acento. Cuando is a question. Cuando, when, without the accent means when as a clause, right? Interrupting. One action happens. I can. I'm working. I'll be right there. One action happening in the imperfect. Mientras, cuando. Again, we can use either of these 2 words to say when or while. We have an action happening in the imperfect, and it's interrupted by something in the preterite on the timeline. Okay, so mientras yo me cepillaba los dientes, here's my timeline of me brushing my teeth. While I was brushing my teeth, mi teléfono sonó. My phone rang. My phone went off. My phone alarm went off. Made noise, right? Sonó. Something. My phone rang, or I got a notification, whatever, right? Mientras el profesor hablaba, el estudiante se durmió. Okay? Or mientras, or let's go with cuando. Cuando el profesor hablaba, yo me dormí. right? While the professor was talking, I fell asleep. Okay, if you think of while the professor was giving the presentation, this is Senor Tilly presenting this presentation, and then the moment you fell asleep, the X on the timeline. Yo me dormí. Okay, one more, and again, I'm asking you to write 5 of each type. Hopefully, you understand with the timelines and stuff from last week what we're looking for. Um, we're looking for 5 in sequence, 5 in parallel happening at the same time, and 5 interrupting. The interrupting has one, at least usually one imperfect verb and one preterite verb. The parallel has 2 or more imperfect verbs, and the sequence has only preterite verbs. Okay, that's the assignment for this week. If you have questions, feel free to email me. I'll have a little more time later in the week. Hopefully, I can get back to any questions you might have. Hopefully, the video and presentation explains what we're looking for. Okay? Es todo, creo.